What's up, guys? It is the end of week number 7 in this uh, 2018 adventure series brought to you by Kyle Carvin. I like to refer to myself as Kyle Carvin sometimes. Just went for a run. Yeah, I got my endorphins going, feeling good. Sometimes I call them endolphins because I love animals so much. Um, my statistics are the same, unfortunately, as last week. So I think I'm at 15 auditions, 2 callbacks, 1 booking. Now, I did have 3 audition invites last week. I had to turn them all down, which I want to explain. One was a scheduling conflict, straight up. Nothing I can do about that one. The other 2 were really 2 small co-stars. And, if you go back to my second or third video somewhere in there, I talk about why I might take co-stars because, for me, those are a step down. And sometimes I do take them, so I explained why. Now, these 2 were, one was for Jane the Virgin, one was for Dynasty, the remake Dynasty. I turned down Dynasty because it was about 3 lines, and it was, that show is full of my type, leading men, leading women type of thing, and mine was just, there's no chance of recurring, so I just said no thank you. Jane the Virgin was just a small role, and maybe I shouldn't have done that because I'm not sure if there's really too many roles that come up for me on that show. But that was just more of from a place, I turned it down from a place that, I just want more for myself out of this industry. And I got to stop even being submitted for co-stars. I told my agent, just please don't submit me for co-stars anymore. So that's that, unless it's a recurring co-star type of thing. So that, I kind of wanted to touch a little bit more upon because it's hard sometimes. Like I haven't worked on a set in like 4 months or so. So sometimes it is just tough. Even when I know I deserve more and I deserve better opportunities, and I turn these co-stars down, sometimes it's really hard still because I just haven't worked and I just want to work sometimes. So it is. It's I kind of walking this line a lot of, well, maybe maybe I know that's like my strategy not to take co-stars, but I haven't worked in a while. Maybe I should just take this one. But I always have to remind myself. I don't want to just settle for. I don't want to settle anymore. These co-stars don't help my career anymore. Yeah, they're a paycheck, but I have other side jobs that I make money on, so it's not like I need the money. I just got to hold out for bigger and better things. So this just kind of reminded me of a story. I know I've talked about background a couple times in this, but I think it's like a kind of relevant story to my feeling. So as I said, I did a lot of background work when I first started in New York City. And then again, when I moved to LA, I was kind of starting over. So I did another year or 2 of background. And here's how it all came to an end. I think it was Days of Our Lives, and I was recurring. I was like a bartender at they have, a lot of the soaps have a lot of recurring sets. And I was the bartender of the show. So whenever they're shooting bar scenes, they had 2 or 3 bartenders that they'd always call in, and I was one of them. And then every so often we'd have a couple lines, and it was that kind of thing. So I was like the one of the town bartenders, and I was working at least once a week, maybe twice a week, 2 or 3 episodes a week, type of thing, and it was good. And then I started, auditioning a little bit more, and so one day I committed to doing background work. And then I got a call from my agent. It was like a Tuesday night. I got a call from my agent saying I had an audition for a guest star for Grey's Anatomy, and it was a really good part. But I had already committed to this Days of Our Lives bartender, and I had to call casting director for Days of Our Lives and back out of the bartending job. And he was really mad, and I don't blame him because they have a lot of people. They have a lot of actors to cast, and especially when it's a nighttime and somebody's got to be there, 12 hours later, that stresses them out. Now they have to rush around and find an actor. So it was really irresponsible of me. And I actually want to get into this in another video, so I don't want to go on too long. But basically that was the last time that I did background work. I just said I can't do this stuff anymore. I didn't, I didn't move across the country to be doing background, and I just had to stop it and go for, go towards what I really deserved. Um, and like I said, then there's nothing wrong with background if people do background. It's my time to move on. Um, and I've met a lot of actors and who just do background, and that's what they do. And some don't have aspirations to do anymore, which is cool. And then some that I met were in the same ballpark as me, where they were trying to build careers and they were just doing background work, but some were stuck 5 or 10 years and not, they wanted to do other things, but they didn't know how. And it was just like, I had these conversations where it's like, we all sacrifice so much to move to Hollywood, to LA, and we leave a lot behind. And I didn't want to continue to do this background work because I didn't want the highlight of my career to be some dude like running through the background of some movie, and then my family pauses the movie and we're all like, oh, there I am, you see me, I'm that blurry guy. Like, I didn't want that to be like the highlight of my career, and that's what I kind of felt was happening. I was just doing background work so much, and so I had to leave it behind. Anyway, now a couple of people sent in some questions or some topics that they'd like to talk about, or me to talk about, and I thought they were pretty cool. One was like, what regrets do I have, and what advice would I give myself if I started over, or just other advice. And as far as advice goes, like, there's a lot of good advice, and that's been said by all sorts of actors and celebrities, and I don't really know if I have anything to add. I would say, like, advice-wise, to be grounded in your heart, be grounded in your head. You just always have to be to have a solid ground to stand upon, because this industry will try to mold and manipulate you into what it wants out of you. And once and if you play along with that game, it's like, that's how, a lot of actors, we see these actors who end up depressed, they end up on drugs, they end up on, alcohol, they're in rehab. It's a really tough industry, and like I said, it feels very impersonal sometimes, and it can get lonely. It sounds weird because you think of Hollywood and you see the glitz and the glamour, and you think that everybody is just living this high life, but in reality, it's like I was saying before, this industry just wants you for its purposes. It doesn't really care about you and your personal wants. It's not the people that are in the industry themselves. It's not the individuals. It's just the overall industry will just chew you up and spit you out, type of thing. And I've seen it happen to people where it just it takes advantage of our insecurities, and unless you are grounded and you have a stable platform, and you know who you are, and you keep your morals and you keep your values, like that's what I always try and keep in mind, because it helps keep me sane through the insanity of all this industry. And I think that's honestly why it's why I feel like I'm doing well. Part of the reason I'm doing well. As far as like regrets, I don't really have regrets professionally, meaning like there's no jobs I didn't take that I wish I did, or there's no jobs that I did that I wish I didn't, that kind of thing. Like, everything that I have done has led me to where I am, and I feel like I'm in a good spot. So I don't really have regrets like that. It's more of a personal thing of what this industry Um, it's mostly on the end of sacrifices that I've made, which um, over the years, when I first started as an actor, I was crazy. I like turned off everything else in life. I I I missed a lot of events, like family events. I missed weddings, just because I didn't want to leave town, because I thought if I left town, then I'd miss my opportunity. I'd miss auditions, and any one of those auditions could be my big break. And that's how I thought, and that's how I felt for so long. And I missed so many, so many things that I do regret. I wish I could go back and do those kinds of things. Um, um, and simple sacrifices that we all make. You leave your family behind, you leave your friends behind, and I don't know if I can say that's a regret, because it's kind of like a necessity. I can't act in upstate New York. I can't make a living being an actor in upstate New York. Um, so leaving family and leaving friends, that was tough to do. But I don't know if it's a regret. But even along the way, like I didn't like lose relationships per se, but um, I guess I kind of did. um, and last year I did this one. I think about often. Last year I did the movie and I flew out at the end of January, and I was gone for about 4 days. The night before I was leaving, I got a call from my girlfriend saying that one of my dogs was having seizures, and actually two ended up having seizures. Um, but one was having seizures regularly, like he had 3 or 4 in a 24-hour period. And like I was at the airport, it was like 1 in the morning. My flight left at like 6 in the morning. And so I was just really antsy and I couldn't sleep. Yeah. And, I maybe I'm wrong on the times. I don't remember. But anyway, I got home that day, and, I think my flight times were off, because I didn't get home till like 9 o'clock or so that night. And my little dog, his name was Maester Raymond, and I used to call him Muffin, because his face looked like a blueberry muffin or something. He was a little Pomeranian, and he was kind of out of it, and he had a lot of health problems, but it was just kind of unexpected. Things kind of went downhill fast, and he was kind of out of it. He was sleeping, and we did one of those stupid things where, this is kind of getting a tangent here, but he had another seizure, another, and then another seizure, and it was like we just had to bring him in and put him down that night. And like from the time I got home until we had to put him down, it was a matter of like 3 hours, and that was like a pretty big regret. Because I was in Atlanta for like the 4 days, and that I could have been spending that time with him, and there's no way I could have known. But so that kind of thing is a regret, and I think about that stuff in the future, because who knows what else I'm gonna miss, because I was spending time doing something that in 50 years isn't gonna matter. And my little muffin man, Maester, I missed the last few days of his life for some movie that's not gonna matter in 10, 15 years. And I regret that, and I don't want that kind of stuff to happen again. So there are days in this industry that I think of. I have bad days still, and I work really hard at being a positive guy, and I am most of the time. But there are days I'm just like, what's the point of all this? None of this shit's gonna matter later in my life. None of the acting gigs is gonna matter. They're gonna be stories, they're gonna be memories, whatever, but they're not gonna be more valuable than the people and the places and things that I love, So anyway, kind of didn't mean to end this on a downer, but yeah, anyway, thanks for checking this out, guys. Please keep sending comments. Oh, and I did have some people were wondering where they could see the other videos, and they're all on YouTube. I'll link that in this video, or probably in my Facebook post, and I'll probably put them on my website sooner than later. So yeah, please keep sending comments on anything you do want to talk about, or you want me to talk about. I don't know what I'll be talking about next week. But anyway, thanks guys. I appreciate you checking it.